We're not sharing this stuff to be like, here, let me just cast judgment all over you. No.
Starting the conversation, I think, is so helpful.
Laura, wait, no, I'm not going to let this go. Like, is having a crush bad and wrong? Do you think that you're going to advise your daughters to wait till they're 18?
I think I am.
See, I'm not sure yet. In terms of like the books even that she was reading, is it wrong to like put like those kind of thoughts in your mind? I don't know. Hey Outsiders, welcome back to the podcast. It's Christa and Laura here for another one of our Insights episodes where we reflect and discuss what's going on in the online Christian space and also expand on the themes and topics brought up by our previous guest, and that of course was the lovely Alicia. I'm not going to try and say her last name again. Oh my gosh, that was terrible. I couldn't do it. But she was so fun. I just feel like even me like re-listening to that chat, I was like, oh, she's so cool. She was so cool.
Yeah.
But before we get into our thoughts on that and go a little bit deeper on what she said, I think we're going to be talking about dating, Laura. But before we go there, what has been going on in the online space, Laura? What do you have for us?
So I came across this video that we should watch together on social media, which I think is so relevant to our topic that we're going to be talking about today.
Perfect.
Do you want to do it?
Yes. You said this to me the other night.
Yeah.
And I don't think I actually ended up watching the whole thing. I think I just started to, and then I got distracted.
I don't understand you parents that are pushing back on the concept of not having your kids date in the teen years, especially the young teen years. Like, what is your 13-year-old going to learn in her dating relationship with that 15-year-old boy that's not going to be a negative thing she carries with her for the rest of her life? Like, let me just tell you, your son doesn't need to get his heart broken by some girl who's constantly cheating on a bunch of guys to realize he doesn't want to do that. In fact, your kids can look around while not dating and see the damage their friends experience, the dangers of dating without ever dating. In fact, they can learn everything they need to know about what not to do without even dating, because they can watch and go, oh, the way he treated her was terrible. Yeah, I don't want that. Okay, great. Mark that. You don't have to do that. You don't have to go through the pain and cry on your pillow at night to see, I don't want that to happen. It's so simple, but we complicate it because we don't want to say no. And for some reason, there's this romanticized idea of like dating in the teen years. Y'all, there is nothing good about dating in the teen years. It is damaging. It is lifelong pain, and it alters their ability to see what a healthy relationship is like. I've already talked to 15-year-olds who've had 4 breakups, and now they're very guarded about the next relationships because how they were treated. That doesn't set them up for success. They can't see clearly because they're so afraid someone's going to treat them like that person did when they were 12, 13, or 14. That is not healthy relationship boundaries. So stop pushing back. Start educating your teenagers. The teen years are for building friendships and building personal development. It is not for romance. That is for a later date when your brain is developed, when you understand what you need, when you're ready to move forward into a real relationship that's going to be lifelong, not an opportunity to constantly collect drama and baggage that's going to damage your future relationships. No dating in the teen years.
Wow.
I don't understand you parents that are pushing back.
Okay, so is he a Christian?
He is a Christian.
Did you stalk his page?
I did.
Okay.
He's amazing.
Should I follow him?
I would 100% follow him.
I'm
I
going
want to
right
ask him
now.
to come on the podcast.
Yes.
I was like,
I'd be keen.
his Instagram is don't marry a loser.
Please don't marry Liz.
Please don't marry a loser.
Oh, that was cool. That was really interesting. There was a lot of stuff that he said that I was just like,
yeah.
True that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so good.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about a little bit more about dating and dating in the young years today. And I'm excited. I'm excited to dig into that.
Yeah, totally.
But a really cool comment that I just saw on the video was stop funding mini divorces. I'm like,
wow.
Interesting.
Yes.
These 2 early bonds are all dressed up with nowhere to go. And then a mini divorce happens, which spins out a bunch of erratic behavior. Like, yeah. Let's mentor, equip, disciple, and then when there's something to actually build a worth, let's support and launch.
Yeah. I like that, support and launch, like when
Yeah.
there's something to build on.
Yeah.
That was really good.
Yeah.
I did think that was interesting, like 15-year-olds who've had like 4 relationships, and like you listening right now, you might be like, oh, well, I had 4 relationships, when I was 15 or whatever.
Yeah.
Or maybe your teenagers have already started dating and it's too late. So this is not like, we're not sharing this stuff to be like, here, let me just cast judgment all over you. No, we're just here to have the conversation.
Yeah.
And like, especially for people who, I want to say this in the right way, because I don't want to say it's too late if your teens are already dating. It's not too late. Like, you can still have these conversations. But like, especially when like you're either thinking about dating yourself or you have young kids, at some point you're going to have these conversations with them.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're right there and it's like at the gate and you've got a 13-year-old and you're like, it's coming.
And I think for me, I want to be equipped, right, for this stage that will come.
Yes.
And I saw having these conversations with you, people that are already doing those intentionally, even if we might get some feedback on some things that people have done, it's like starting the conversation, I think, is so helpful. Like doing it even beforehand, or maybe you are in it right now. How can we help you and equip you for this next stage? Or
So go check that guy out.
Yeah.
He seems like he's got a lot of great stuff.
He does.
To talk about.
He's got like on his little, what are they called? Little circles like underneath his
Story highlights.
I think story highlights. And he's got like a girl section and he's got a boy section. And I'm like,
interesting.
look into that.
And if you know anyone who's like the New Zealand version of this person, like,
Oh yeah.
reach out, please.
Yeah.
Because like I love having, people from overseas on the podcast, but also like I would rather, not that I wouldn't rather him, but like it would be cool to get someone who's locally
Yeah, true.
similar, loves the Lord,
Yeah.
loves dating, but,
Yeah.
I don't know, has the advice around that kind of stuff.
I also had a thought. This is just me, just randomly thinking just now. It's like, how often does the church talk about this topic? I'm like,
no. Well, I didn't really get much guidance on this when I was like a teen
and I'm
in
like,
church,
maybe it should be.
or even just like public church as an adult now. No, it doesn't really get talked about. But because I suppose that's the thing, that's why this is so good, is because this is outside of Sunday.
Yeah.
Your pastor's probably not going to preach about this from a pulpit.
That's true.
Maybe you don't have Christian friends who are going to talk about this with you. There are probably a lot of people who listen who they might be the only Christian that they know. I don't know.
Good point.
Let us be your friends. Like, let us help you. Like, join in this conversation with us and, like, let us help you kind of nut this out. But at the end of the day, we're still just going to share our opinions and our thoughts on this. And it's up to you what you do with that, Like, we're not saying this is a rule, but this is where we're at.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Cool.
But let's recap now on our chat with Alicia, and then we can get a little bit deeper into the dating chat, which is funny. We did also do a dating episode recently in reaction to Chantel's episode, which was so great, Chantel Nunez.
Yeah.
So I'll link that up here to go back, and like that's another really nitty gritty where we talk about like boundaries in terms of like sexual stuff in a dating relationship. So check that out up here. But yeah, recap on our chat with Alicia. So in part 1 of our chat, she shared with us, it was kind of like a millennial church kid experience. And I just loved it so much.
I was like, yep.
Absolutely. I was like ticking those boxes. I was just like, this is great. You can be my new best friend. And being raised in a Christian home. And she walked us through her dating history. And when I ask people, when they first come on the podcast, I say, like, we'd love to hear your testimony, but I want you to like pray about or think about what it is that you feel like you want to kind of focus your testimony on. Like, is there a certain trial that you went through or an experience that you want to share? And she was like, I really want to talk about dating. And I was like, I love that. So that's what we talked about. So we went through her dating history and what was like a seemingly innocent Christian teen romance novel kind of space that she was in, and how those kind of fed her desire for that perfect Christian romance with that cool surfer guy or skater guy. But yeah, we get to hang out with Alicia again next Tuesday, so make sure you come back for part 2. But Laura, what was your initial reaction to part 1?
Yeah, I feel like she's like my big sister. And I
Yeah,
could
it
go
was
and
cool.
talk to her about
She was like so like she's one of those people that I feel like everyone must love her. I'm like she just seems so easy to get along with and just like really really lovely.
Cool. Before we talk about dating, I wanted to ask you, what is the greatest blessing of having a Christian heritage for you? Because you asked that question to her, and I was like, that's a really great question.
Well, I suppose for me, because I'm so blessed, like I do have a Christian heritage as well.
Yeah.
Like I have big Christian heritage, like my Māori ancestor, like my great grandmother.
Wow.
There's like a record. Her name is Irena Kelly, and Kelly's Bay up in the North Island is named after her and her husband Tom. Anyway, their graves are there. But my dad and my mum, they went up north and they were like finding out all about our history and everything like that. And she remembers her mum telling her about when Samuel Marsden came and preached in like a church up in the north. And I'm like, wow, that's so cool. Like, I don't know if she was a Christian, but there was like this cool story about Samuel Marsden. And then when a preacher came to New Zealand, I don't know if it was, I can't remember. I should have checked this with my mum before I did this episode. It was either like William, it was either, what's his name? It was either Billy Graham or Smith Wigglesworth or somebody like that came to New Zealand and did a big New Zealand tour, and my grand's uncles hosted him, and so my mum's family, like my mum's mum was a Christian and her dad was a Christian. My dad's mum was a Christian and Christian. So there's a long line of it. And I'm just like, that's all really cool just to know for like factoids. But like what that gives you as like a child who's the beneficiary of that, I think what the best thing is less baggage.
Wow.
Like emotional, like in terms of like my parents were beautiful, wonderful Christian parents. Yeah. And I don't have all this baggage that comes. I don't have trauma from my childhood from that. I'm so blessed that is my story. And now I can pass that on. And then I'm, hope one day my children can pass it on. The amount of people that I've talked to, even just through this podcast, who have been like, oh, I wish I had that.
Yeah.
Like I wish I had like this drama-free childhood. But no, I inherited like this. My mum was toxic in this way. My dad was toxic in that way. And I developed then toxic relationships on my own. And just like the fact that, it is such a blessing to like have just like this beautiful example. Not perfect, not at all. Yeah. But just like pointing to Christ.
Yeah.
My parents were pointing us to Christ.
That's so good.
And I think that's a huge blessing. And that's why I'm like, don't scorn it. Don't scorn that Christian upbringing. Like it may not have been perfect. And, you hope it can be as good as, we can do. Me for my own kids as well. But I think that's the greatest thing. What about you? Because you have a Christian heritage.
I do. Well. And I agree. Like my parents actually became Christians 3 months after they got married.
Wow.
Like, Dad, it's a cool story. We should get it on the podcast. Yeah. But because they have chosen Christ, I have never seen any of that too. But I think for me, just the greatest, what is it? The greatest heritage is that understanding that God is there. I just have never known that there isn't a God. Do you know what I mean?
That is your thought.
Yeah, like it's just he's always been there, and it's amazing to me how people would just have in their whole life they just don't know that God is.
I just think of a ship without an anchor. I'm like, you must just be like drifting around and like. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
He's the anchor. Isn't that a verse? An anchor for our souls. Yeah.
Yeah. And even like I've watched my dad raise his hands in church every Sunday. Well, maybe not every Sunday, but most Sundays. And if you know my dad, he's very black and white. And when you see a grown man raise his hands up to God, and sing his heart out because he's a great singer.
Her parents are amazing singers.
Yes, they are. And it's just like there is so much power in that.
Yeah.
You know, so I had that example.
Yeah, that's so beautiful.
Yeah. And I was reading 2 Timothy 3:15. From childhood you have known the holy scriptures, which are able to make you wise for salvation through faith in Christ Jesus. And I was like,
So good. I love that.
that's a great verse. I'm
great
like, that
verse.
should be my mummy.
Mummy.
Our parenting like mantra. I don't know if that's
Were you going to say mummy mantra? That's actually kind of
mummy
funny.
mantra. Anyways, yeah, no. But I feel like that was a really good question, and it's such a blessing, isn't it?
Yeah.
To have that. But
And look, if you're listening and you're like, oh, I
Yeah.
didn't have that. That sucks. Yeah, I'm sorry. I wish you
Yeah.
did. I so wish you did.
yeah,
But now it starts with you. Like, that's the beautiful
right.
thing is that, like, your parents married were sinners. You know, like, I know that their walk was very far from God,
yeah,
but they came to Christ
Yeah.
3 months after they got married, and then they got to start afresh.
yeah.
That could be your day today.
That's right.
You could start afresh today
Yeah.
with Christ. And even if your kids are older, even if your
Yeah.
kids, you know, you don't have kids yet or whatever,
Yeah.
just start today.
Yeah, I mean,
walking
I
with the
I
Lord.
think even with the podcast, we've heard stories of people and their parents become Christian, and then they're like, "What? Who is this
Yeah.
person?" You know, they're changed.
Yes. It's
So
cool.
yeah,
So that's really cool. That was cool in the chat. Also, there was so much that I really loved about the chat. So many little highlights for me. So much to love about Alicia. And I think one of the things she said, which was really cool, was like how God cares about the small things. You know, she shared that story of finding just the right skirt that she just happened to need.
Yeah.
And that's one of those sweet things where you're like, God, you didn't have to do that.
Yes.
You know, like, God, you don't have to do those sweet little things for us.
True.
But he does. Not that we're just like demanding it, but just like out of his goodness, you know, he does that. And I love how she was like, just try him, just ask. You know, like, don't be afraid to trouble God with the little things of your life
Yeah.
as well as the big things.
Yeah.
Which is what we've talked about in the past. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes I am like hesitant to ask because I'm like,
Yeah.
God, you're so holy. God, you're so great.
Yeah.
I have so much respect and honor and awe and love for you. But actually, he cares, you know,
Yeah.
cares for the lilies of the field, you know, and the sparrows. He cares about us as well.
Yeah.
And dancing on the street for Jesus. I thought that was so great.
So cool.
So cool. I'm like, wow. Just, oh man. I don't know. I just wanted to be transported there
Yes.
and like witness
I
that.
was like imagining it in my
I
head
was
for you.
imagining it in my head and I was like, that's crack up.
cool.
But yeah, just like millennial memories was so fun. Just like going down memory lane with like technology, MSN Messenger.
Yes.
Which is funny because it was called MSN Messenger and now on Facebook, everyone sends messages on Messenger, right?
True.
I'm pretty sure it was called MSN Messenger. And oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I was just like the dial-up sound was like ringing in my ears as she was
Waiting
just
for
like,
your sister to get off the phone.
I know, my goodness. It was just like so nostalgic. Another thing that she said, which I thought was really interesting, how she moves churches because of youth group.
Interesting.
That's what my parents did too. So we were at a church in Rotorua from the time I was like a baby, from the time my parents moved here. And then when me, my sister, and my little brother got to like that teenage age, the youth group there wasn't really thriving. There was like 4 or 5 kids in the youth group. And my parents, like, it's a hard decision to make because, you know, they loved the pastor, they loved their friends, they loved the families there, and there wasn't many of them, but my parents made the call, like, we want our kids to be established and locked in to a good, thriving youth group. And so we moved churches to where we currently go. And
Do you think that was a wise move?
I don't know, I like think about it sometimes that I'm like, it was kind of sad because I did have like friendships that ended because we left. But also I'm like, it was kind of like, I don't know. I mean, it's happened.
Yeah.
You know, it's done. So
Yeah.
I'm sure it was good. But yeah, what I was just bringing that up to just be like, churches, pastors, leaders, guys, youth group is so important. It is like seriously important. Like families will move My family
My
did.
parents did too.
Did your parents
I
too?
think so. Yeah.
And Alicia, her parents did too. I'm like, this is it, because, like having good core Christian friends can get you through like some of the hardest times of your life. If you just have that core. Yeah. And you're super like, you're just starting to get your like independence, and if it's with Christian mates rather than like the work. Anyway, that's kind of going off on a tangent. The other thing I was just like, that was so cool how she talked about raising your hands in worship. And you even just briefly mentioned that with your dad and Paris, who they all know each other because they were.
I thought
she was
so.
in Nelson. It was at our Nelson recording. This was actually the last one of our Nelson series. And she was talking about raising her hands. And I think some people are like, what's the big deal, raising your hands? It's like you're not doing it alone in your room. You're in a church and you're a teenager and you're a youth group. Your youth group mates are all there, or the kids who think that church is lame, who have been forced there by their parents, are sitting like 2 rows away from you or whatever. Raising your hands is like a public, that people can see you. Like you're not, like let's not be silly. You know that people can see you when you raise your hands. I know you're doing it as an act of worship to God, but this is what I mean. I'm like, this is a big moment. It's not just raising your hands, it's choosing like to look foolish and to be open with your faith to whoever is around you. And it could be that crush that you had and you just, he thinks it's lame, but I don't care. I'm going to be, I'm going to raise my hand. And like your dad, like God deserves the worship. I'm going to worship, and I will choose to sing my heart out for the Lord in worship and not care what anyone else says.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, baptism is that, she talked about that as well, that's a public display of your faith. I think raising your hands in worship when you're in a public setting like that, it is kind of like a public display of your faith as well.
I remember doing it as a teenager and being so like,
oh my gosh.
But now I'm
and
like, oh, okay.
I would be like looking at my friend, like, is my friend doing it? Should I raise my hand? And then up it goes. But now I'm just like, I don't care. I'm just like super expressive with my worship. But I just thought it was just so fun to just even to reminisce like about crushes and things like that, and that time of our life. Like, oh my gosh. How old were you when you had like your first crush?
Like year 7, which is like Form 1.
That's pretty old. Like
I
was like in primary school. I remember having
like
my
Form
first
1 is
little crush.
First year of intermediate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cute. What was his name?
I'm not saying.
All right. I'm like, maybe I shouldn't ask that.
No, that's fine. You can ask it. I'm just not gonna say.
Okay. Well, I remember my first crush, and it was at primary school. And I remember we used to do dances. Did you?
Yeah, year 8.
Do they still do that?
I hope so.
Like they would teach us like formal dances, and like you'd have a partner and you'd do this action, and then there'd be like a circle of you.
They do that at BC still, I'm pretty sure.
I thought that was adorable. Anyway, I loved it because my crush, I would like get to hold his hand at one point, and I was like, his name was Greek. Anyway, I don't know. I never met him again in my life, but he was just like this cute little boy, and I was a little girl, and I just had a little crush on him. But nothing ever. I was not the type of person who was like, "Hey, can we date?"
Okay,
funny, but I was like that for my husband, but not for.
Right.
Anyway, moving on.
Such a confusing time.
It's sweet though, like. I don't know.
No.
No, you don't think it's sweet.
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, Laura, wait, no, I'm not going to let this go. Like, is having a crush bad and wrong?
Just like a great question, because I'm like, what's the point?
You're right. But I think the whole thing is I didn't go out and be like, I want a crush. I just
had one.
I just had one.
Good point.
So I think we can't be like,
help it.
Like what if one of your girls comes to you one day and says, I have a crush on?
Yeah.
Are you going to be like, darling, that's wrong?
Honestly, it's funny that you say that, because even my eldest, she's like, talks about this boy.
She does.
And we talk about how we look, like what we look for in a husband, and she mentions this boy.
Oh, that's really sweet.
And we talk about how he's quite a wise boy, like why. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it's a crush. I just think that she's trying to figure out what kind of person is, I don't know. It's hard. I'm like, I just don't want him to do any of that.
But that's the thing. I think it's good.
Can't help it.
You can't help it. Like I say, I didn't try and get a crush.
Yeah.
I just happened to have a crush.
Yeah,
and
true.
I think it's just like, it is, maybe we'll get into this a little bit later, but it is almost like, at least it's a boy. Like,
Yeah, good point. Thank you, Lord.
at least it's not some kind of, that is a natural. That's the thing. Like, it's natural. Men and women are going to come to, like, that's how God designed us to come together. And so, like, even though we don't want to go out there and be like encouraging children to have crushes, if it does happen, I don't think it's wrong. It's just like, that's just, it's almost like that's a foreshadowing of what is to come.
Yeah.
And this is like a little taste of what it's going to be like for you when it's marriage time.
So what about you? If your kids came to you and was like, Mum, I've got a crush on this person.
I would be like, really? And I would just like have a little, I don't want to ever be like,
you can't have it.
They come to me and I judge them. I would be like, oh my gosh, really? And just talk about it a little bit.
They came to you and told you.
Yes,
right?
yes, but that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
So I don't think so. There was this one, again, same thing. One of my children was repeatedly saying this person's name. I won't say who it was or which child of mine it was. And so it was a little bit like, there's everything there. But we always like, we'll, validate, I suppose, that, you've had this connection or whatever, or you think this person's nice. But we're never like, I think you should pursue that. Yeah. We're never like, oh, great, like maybe you should write them a little note, or hey, maybe you should ask them if they want to hold hands. No, we're not doing that in our house. I'm like, no, I'm not going to encourage that because, like what you said, my kids are 12, 9, and 6.
Yeah.
That's not marriage time. And that's kind of the language we have around it. Yeah. It's like, because my son did mention a little while ago, like these two people liking each other. And I was like, how old are they? And I think he said they were 13 or something. I was like, oh, well, what's the point of that? They can't get married until they're at least 18.
Yeah.
So there's just basically the whole communication from our end is like, there's no point.
Yeah, I
kind
really
of like what the guy said in that little clip. Yeah,
I really like that. It's like, oh well, I shouldn't be. That's not a good time.
It's so weird.
Make it.
It is kind of like the
conversation. Around that. I'm like, if we set a culture around our children, that's the norm, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not normal. That's what we've done with technology, and I think it's really cool because our kids have similar values, I guess, and ideas about it.
Yeah,
and it's the same with that kind of dating scene. I'm like, let's just make that the norm.
It's like there's things that are for children, and there are things that are for adults.
Yeah,
Mummy has a phone because I'm an adult and job, and my husband needs to know what to get for the groceries. Like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Same with marriage. Mummy and daddy. We're adults. Yeah. We're married.
Like even just before, my eldest was reading my notes, and I was like, I'm so sorry, but this is not an appropriate time for you to read this. But one day I can't wait to talk to you about this.
So cool.
And I'm like, she read the, we're like, ugh! How old were you when you had a crush? I was like, no. Yeah, I'm like, dang it. She doesn't even know what the word crush means. So please, Lord.
But it's interesting, because I suppose, when it comes to that kind of thing, I let their curiosity and I let them lead the conversation a little bit. I don't try to guide them too much. Right. So if I don't intentionally be like, today I'm going to talk to my kids about dating, or today I'm going to talk to my kids about having a crush or boundaries or whatever. I'm just like, as we're in the mornings reading the word, usually the word is actually a really great prompt because sometimes we'll be reading something.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, oh, that's right, kids. Let's talk about this.
Curses. Curses came up the other day. Really? And I was like, yeah. In the Old Testament, there's a lot of that. But anyways.
Yes. And so that's a great prompt. But otherwise, if I don't, in my opinion, I'm like, if you treat it like this serious, like, oh, can you go to your room? We're going to have a conversation now. And like treat it like so serious. It's very open with all of us. Like we'll talk about everything. So, but yeah, it's funny, like as well, when they ask you questions about your dating history, have your kids asked you about yours?
I've actually told.
Yeah.
Yeah. That I had a boyfriend before Daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aren't they just, they're so like, funny about it, eh?
What? Yeah.
Yeah. And I talk about that too. And I'm like, I shouldn't have been, you know, I shouldn't have been dating.
Yeah.
I was 16, I think, or 15 or 16. Yeah. And I'm like, and I said to them, I was like, I'm sure that person's lovely and I hope he has a great life, but I shouldn't have been dating. You know, I should have actually been waiting for Daddy. It's kind of like the thing that I say to them. I say it to them. I'm like, I wish I hadn't have. I wish I had just dated your daddy, you know, like dated Daddy from the beginning and he was the one I married because, you know, right time, right person, you know, right age, all of that stuff.
Wow. I actually had a boyfriend when I was 16 too and we dated until out of high school. And I was set on marrying him. Like he was going to be my husband.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so we even dated the year out of high school as well. So it was like a long relationship.
Yeah.
And then when it didn't happen, that was so painful.
Really?
Like I couldn't eat.
Oh.
I couldn't sleep. It was like,
Laura.
Honestly, it was like, but I mean, why I brought that up is because if I had the guidance and the kind of rule in my head that actually I can't date you until I'm 18, if I'm serious about you, then I would our relationship would have been better. You know what I mean? Because I was really not mature enough for a relationship. Oh my goodness. I was so immature. I was not ready. And even the please don't marry a loser guy, he says, your brain isn't fully developed yet. And I'm like, it's so true. Your brain actually isn't fully developed until you're 25.
Yeah.
Like a rough.
I got married at 22.
I got married when I was 20. Like, my brain was still not developed, which I'm kind of glad it wasn't.
Yeah. That's
funny. But it's like, I didn't even really understand how to be a good girlfriend or what that looked like.
Just how to have a relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think about that too. And I'm like, we're just talking about this now. Do you think that you're going to advise your daughters to wait till they're 18?
I think I am.
See, I'm not sure yet because I have a friend who I trust who you know too, but I won't say her name. She has a daughter. She's a bit older than us. She has a daughter who she started dating someone at 16. And, but it wasn't just like, let's just start dating. Like,
no,
he was spending time with the dad, you know, like it was a really kind of like beautiful, like godly start to a relationship.
Yes.
It was friends.
Yeah.
It was spending more time together with the family. And then their relationship, like they got permission to start dating when the mum and the dad had seen, okay, no, this is actually a guy who is husband material and you are actually mature enough to do that. So I don't know exactly when she started. Yeah. They said yes, you know, green light, start dating. But I think what it was they saw that, you know, he was godly. She was having a godly attitude about it as well, and that marriage was something that they would do. And I think she's engaged now and she was 18.
I think that's so good. Like, and great way to do it. Like, great example of the model of how to do dating. Yeah. And I've seen it done really well too. Like we've mentored this couple, who I won't say, who watched the podcast. So if you're watching this, then hi. Hi. But they wanted to start dating before a certain time, but their parents had a rule and said no initially, and then they keep asking, basically, the boy and the girl. I want to keep saying their names. Then the parents said, yes, you can. And then they were like, all right, we want to get married.
Wow.
And I'm like, go you guys. Like, so good. Because that was the intention for them, right? The intention was not
marriage.
just to have a relationship and that's it. It was marriage. That was the intent for them. That was the end goal.
Yeah.
Well, not just, you know what I mean.
Yes.
And then she was 17 when he wanted to ask her to marry her, but the parents were like, can you just wait
until she's at least 18? And look, I think some people listening will be like, dang, that's not enough life experience. Like they need to go out there, they need to have an OE, they need to go start working full time and flat and all of these things. And look, again, your life, you can do what you want. I think, to be honest, I'm like, again, I do wish that I had not had that first relationship, not trying to disrespect anyone, but just because there was no point. Like I was as well, for me in my life, like I was committed to going overseas and I served in Australia for 7 years and that's where I met my husband, who's a Kiwi. But that was the relationship for me. And I should have, if I had been just a little bit more wise, I would have seen that and not entered into that relationship. But it's the whole thing of feeling special and like somebody's interested in me, like no one's ever been interested in me like that. And like the little feels, the excitement of, oh, he wants to hold my hand or whatever. And like what Alicia said, she started dating her husband, even though they broke up, when she was 13, and that's so young. And her parents let her because she was already doing it in secret anyway. So it's like, in that situation, I think her parents did the right thing. They said, look, hey, you're already doing it. Let's bring it out into the light. So there's going to be children who are like that, who are going to just, you can be the best parent on the earth. And I'm sure Alicia's parents were wonderful, great Christian parents. But that child is not just a product of you. They're an individual, they're going to live their life. And that's the time when sort of that independence starts coming. We got to guide them. We got to support them. I think Alicia's parents did a great job with that. But I do think these conversations, if we start having them when they're young, it's not like, oh, I've never had any context of what dating looks like for a Christian or someone who loves the Lord. So what is my reference point? And, for Alicia, it was those Christian romance books, which I'm like, sheesh. Like, I don't think I ever read any of those type of books, but
no, neither did I.
can understand that that's a genre. And that was kind of feeding that kind of, oh, this is what you're going to, and you'll have a romance and you'll hold hands while you're worshiping. And then all of a sudden he'll take you down to the beach and then show you how to surf and then you'll make out, and then you'll get married later. Or I don't know. I've never read those books, so I don't know. But this is what the impression that I got from Alicia anyway.
I remember my friends used to get magazines. Did you ever read?
Like Girlfriend magazine?
Yeah. And I remember going to their houses and reading them and being like, this is stupid. Like,
and like they're
how
literally,
are you old enough to read this?
They're like literally talking about sex and like
masturbation
and like STI. Is it STD or STI?
Well, both.
Sexually transmitted disease.
Well, I mean, and like how many guys is too many guys?
Oh my gosh. The absolute trash of that, man.
I like as a teenager, I was like, I'm never buying a magazine like this and I'm never having these in my house. Like, if you come to my house, I don't have magazines.
You know what? My little girl, my youngest, my 6-year-old, she, we go to the supermarket and she sees those magazines, the kiddie ones.
Yeah.
And she like loves them. I never buy them for them because I'm like, I don't want them to buy the
Start now.
teen version of that because 100%. It's like, here you go.
We got gifted one and I was like, bin.
But look, I'm not saying that you shouldn't. Okay, all right. This is just my choice again.
This is what I've chosen to protect my family. I
don't know. I just feel like that's the whole reason why McDonald's put playgrounds in their McDonald's is because you want to create nostalgia for the child so that when they're an adult, they keep coming back to McDonald's because of the nostalgia. I mean, like a cheeseburger.
Oh, yeah.
Like I love it. I'm just like,
it worked, guys.
It works. It works. And that's why, they start with the little kiddie magazine so that they'll get the teen magazine and then, all bets are off, wild.
Yes. Yeah, it's hard not to put like a you can't date line rule. But Jono and I have been having more conversations about this now, which is, I think, great.
Yeah.
So we're like 16 and under, probably not wise. Yeah. But I think, key word, maturity.
Yes.
I feel like the couple that I was talking about are very mature. They came and talked to us about stuff. And I'm like,
cool.
That in itself, they are seeking wise counsel. Great. Tick. You know, not that it's like you need to check off this checklist. But it's not just one person that's mature, it's the other person too. Yeah.
And
So
I think, sorry, just one quick thing.
yeah.
And I also think too, maturity, godliness, but also you got to make sure someone's not a psychopath, you know? Like you got to know this person is trustworthy, this person is godly, you know, for like if it's our daughter, the guy, you know, like, because there are situations where, and even Chantal's episode, which I'll link up here, you know, like she thought that he was a Christian. She thought she was marrying a Christian. And she even goes on to say, like, he told her later on that he thought he was a Christian too.
Yeah.
But he wasn't, and their marriage ended.
Yeah.
Or I know someone from a while ago who she married someone who was like literally crazy. Like he was crazy. So, you know, you got to be wise, so wise. True. And, you know, we're saying, you know, get married at 18 and like, that's so cool. I didn't. I got married at 22. But also like, don't just, you know, the first guy who comes along or the first girl. I warn my son all the time. I'm like, look at Proverbs, son. Like all of it is talking about women who, you know, who are like inviting the young men into their bed and who are like tempting the young men with their beauty and their perfume and honey and whatever. I'm like, don't fall for that woman. You don't want that woman. You want the woman who fears the Lord. You want a godly woman who's not just out to, I don't know.
So good. Yeah. And I was also reflecting on Ecclesiastes 3. Dating is a season, right? And there is a time for everything. For everything there is a season. I'm going to read it out. For everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up what is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. But yes, I was thinking waiting actually could be an act of wisdom rather than deprivation, because I think at the start of the clip that we watched, he said parents are afraid of saying no. And I don't think us saying no is wrong.
Yeah.
It's not, we're not trying to deprive them. We're actually trying to help them. And I wanted to talk about that with you. I mean, if your child came to you and was like, I want to date this person, and you said, hey, no, I don't think that's wise. If you're going to do it anyways, just do, like, yeah. But this is why I don't think you should be doing it, and these are the reasons. And would you just hold off, maybe watch and wait and give them time, and then think about a serious relationship? Like, that's how I kind of want to approach
I feel like if they came to me and they told me that,
Yeah.
I would just be very quiet for a long time and like let them share and be like, why do you want to date this person? Like just be so curious and ask like at minimum 10 questions and be like, find out all the details, find out how they're feeling, find out what the other person is telling them to, like, is there pressure, you know, from this other person to date, and just try as best as I could to find out all that I could and then share my thoughts.
Nice.
But again, like I say, and we were saying earlier about Alicia's story, is it's a common story, is that kids reach that kind of age where you either let it happen in the light or they pursue it in the dark.
Yeah.
So it's like, what would you rather? And I would rather them be in the light. And I'll be like, okay, well, if I've given you my advice, if you're choosing, you know, if you still want to date this person anyway, this is what dating is going to look like.
Nice.
You're not allowed to go out alone with them.
Nice.
He's coming to our house.
Nice.
He's having family game. You know, like,
Yes.
honestly, I'm like, he's coming to church. I was listening to this podcast the other day and he was saying he dated a girl who the only time he was allowed to hang out with her was at church. Like her parents would not let him hang out with her anywhere except for church. And I'm like, go those
Yeah.
periods. But also it's like if he really cares about you and if he really loves you, because who knows if they're saying things like that, that they love each other at 13 and they're good. He will do that. And then if not, woohoo. Like it's not gonna be around. But then that's the whole thing of like what you're saying, even mini divorces, and that comment was saying.
Yeah.
It's like, dang, like we don't want to prepare our kids for this switch on, switch off.
Yeah.
And like going through all these relationships, and it's just not a great habit at all for anyone. But also I really like what you said about, or what you read rather, in Ecclesiastes, in Ecclesiastes, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. It's so true.
Yeah.
But it also made me think of when we're finished dating and when we're married. It's like when we're dating, or there's the possibility of dating, it's almost like there's a switch turned on where you're like looking for potential Mr. Christa, Mr. Laura, like you're looking for that. You're looking for that person, and that switch is kind of turned on. But when you're married, and we were even talking about this in last week's Insights episode, like we need to protect that switch that was looking, that switch is turned off. You were asking me about this the other day, and you were like, what do you do to like protect your marriage when it comes to like conducting yourself with other men? And I said to you, I was like, I don't know if I do this perfectly, but I just try to give off bro vibes.
Bro vibes.
I'm like, these are, I'm communicating with you and you're a male and you're not my husband.
Yeah.
I'm giving you bro vibes.
Yeah.
I'm not giving you hoe vibes. No, I don't know if I should say that. But like,
So good.
but honestly, it's like, I'm not trying to allure you. No. I'm not trying to flirt with you. Bro vibes. I'm like, that's where I go with it. And like, I think that it kind of ties into something that Alicia was saying, which was she shared about that verse in Song of Solomon's. That said, not Song of Solomon's, Song of Solomon. Song of Solomon 2:7, it says this, young women of Jerusalem, I charge you by the gazelles and the wild does of the field. Do not stir up or awaken love until the appropriate time. And that was something that she was saying. She was like, it's not good to be having all these relationships when you're that young. Like, don't stir it up. But then I looked into that and I was like, it actually says it 3 times. In Song of Solomon's. So first, chapter 2, verse 3. Then in chapter 3, verse 5, it says this, I adjure you, O daughters of Jerusalem, by the gazelles or does of the field, that you do not stir up or awaken love until it pleases. Like it keeps saying the same thing. And the last time it's in Song of Solomon 8, verse 4. And then it's interesting because the bride, because this is, every time that this phrase is said, it's because if you know Song of Solomon, it's the man says something, then the bride says something, then her friends say something, then the bride says something, then the man says something, so there's different people speaking in this book. And so every time, those 3 times, it's always the bride saying, don't awaken love before it's time. Don't, she's talking about how much she loves her bridegroom, Solomon. She's talking about how much she loves him. She wants to kiss him. She wants to do this with him. Racy stuff. But she's saying all of this to the people who are listening, her friends or whatever, and still says, but do not awaken love before it's time. And it's funny, in chapter 8, verse 1, she says this, if only you were like a brother to me, then if I found you outside, I would kiss you and no one would despise me. And this is what I'm talking about. The whole bro vibes thing is like, if you're a brother, it's, you can treat someone like a brother. It's cool and it's chill and it's right. But I'm not going to go kiss somebody who's not my husband. So I think there would have been like a type of kissing that was normal between a brother and a sister. But I'm not saying that. That's what I'm saying is okay. But
it's not appropriate now.
but that really is my position when it comes to like my kids, when I'm giving them advice and when we're talking about future relationships, is I'm like, 1 Timothy 5 verses 1 to 2, guys.
Yeah.
And I'll read it. Do not rebuke an older man harshly, but exhort him as if he were your father. Treat younger men as brothers, older women as mothers, and younger women as sisters with absolute purity.
Nice.
I feel like that is the biblical position.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it is. I'm like, if you're not married, that's your brother in Christ.
Nice.
That's your sister in Christ. Treat them like that.
Yes.
But I will just say though, it's interesting, like reading Song of Solomon, and it is, like I say, it's the love book, and there's sexual love discussed in there.
Yep.
There is some imagery that you're like, whoa, okay, we're going there, and they do go there. But this is the thing, like, but it's in the Bible. Because love is good.
Yeah.
And love is a beautiful, wonderful thing. And I want my kids to have that, to have a beautiful marriage relationship. It's not for everyone. It doesn't happen for everyone.
Yeah.
But it's a good goal to have. And so I think, like, in terms of like the books even that she was reading, I'm like, is it wrong to like put like those kind of thoughts in your mind? I don't know so much. I guess it depends what it is, because I just finished reading Little Women to my daughter, and it is such a beautiful book.
Yes.
I'm like, this is a great book. It's basically like it nods constantly to scripture and to God, and also to the book The Pilgrim's Progress, which is like one of like second, that book is second only to the Bible, you know, like it's so good.
I so agree. Thank you.
And it's honestly constantly nodding back to that. And then there is this beautiful example of a godly man pursuing one of the four sisters, and like how that all works out, and how the mum and the dad are talking about, oh my gosh, I was like, thank you, Jesus, for this book that I can read with my 9-year-old. And it was so fun because we were both like, oh my gosh, like he's asking her now if she wants to pursue this. Oh my gosh, like it was just so wholesome. And that's what I mean. I'm like, there is wholesome, there is right. It is not a wrong thing to talk about these things with our kids and to be a little bit like tee with that kind of thing. But it's like, what is it though? Like, because the books that are out there that aren't Christian or have any kind of Christian thing, I'm like, it's a cliff. Like you're throwing your kids and pushing them off the cliff if you give them those kinds of books. Yeah. I mean, like it talks, they're so sexual and just like not selfless love. It's like the most selfish love is what they're promoting. Like this is how to, these are the sex toys that you can choose from. These are the positions or whatever. This is what ANAL is, you know, like please don't. We need to be so careful what our kids are reading. Like, my gosh. But I'm like, Little Woman for a little girl, tick. Jane Eyre, this is the one I want to read next because a friend of mine recommended it to me. Yeah. But I might read it first, or I might read a chapter first and then see if I'm happy with it continuing, because there is a little bit of like a gothic kind of theme to it. And I say all of that to say this. When we expose our children to these different things, to these different thoughts, whether it's Little Women or whether it's something else, I know like one of the top romance movies on Netflix at the moment is a homosexual romance movie between two guys. Lame. Like what we expose them to is what we're setting their expectations at. Yeah. So anyway, that's what I think anyway. Yeah.
And I think, you know, teaching our children the point of relationships and the purpose of marriage is like so helpful. You know, it's the reason why we have marriage is to point to Jesus, right? Yes. He is the example of the bridegroom coming to his bride and he self-sacrifices himself. Yes. That's what we need to do in our marriages is lay our lives down for each other. And I'm like, that's the point of marriage. I wish I was taught that, you know, even though I was probably shown that. Yes. I just wish someone would be like, do you know what the point of marriage is? Like, why are you
Sometimes it is nice to just have it just like laid out.
I think I'm going to do it.
Like make it simple for me, please.
When we do that with the kids, but intertwine that with, But anyways, I feel like what you were saying is so true. And like in our culture, right? It's taught have a boyfriend, go in a relationship, have those feelings, have physical intimacy, break up. Yeah. Next person. Yeah. But for a Christian, it should be friends. Yeah. Like brother and sisterly love. I really like that. Like come into my house, we can hang out. Yes. I'll make you hot chocolate. We're having family night. Yeah. That's cool. And instead of being like shamed in the car, just you two alone. Yeah. By the way, guys, a car is a room. It's a room. I'm going to teach my kids that too. Yeah. If you're in a
That's a closed door room right there.
We have to have our room open by the way. Yeah. So friends then become best friends. Yeah. Like best friends are cool. And then dating, boyfriend or whatever, call it. chaperoning, engaged,
Yeah.
marriage.
Mm-hmm.
That's the goal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, but it's funny that we don't see what modern dating is in the Bible, but what you're saying is there's so much goodness. And the Bible teaches us love, like you were saying. It does give us principles for relationships, sexual purity, wisdom, marriage, singleness even. Guys, you don't have to get married.
You don't have to. Be like Paul.
Be like Paul.
He says, be like me.
Yeah.
Don't get married.
Don't, because then you can go and preach the gospel wherever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not tied down.
Not tied down. Yeah.
So it is a good thing.
It is.
But also marriage and family is a good thing too.
Good thing too. That's right. 1 Thessalonians 4:3-5 talks about sexual holiness and self-control. And the guy, what's his name? Don't marry a loser. Please don't marry a loser. He talks about that too. He talks about self-control and he talks about how that actually doesn't help you when you're young. It's like that's for the marriage bit, right?
Yeah.
1 Timothy 5:1-2, treating younger women / men as brothers and sisters with purity, what you said.
Yes.
So good. Proverbs 4:23, guarding your heart. So good. 1 Corinthians 6:18-20, fleeing sexual immorality and remembering our bodies belong to Christ. Proverbs 5:22, plan succeeding through wise counsel. And I think if we look at the example of the church and if they're like showing us how to be in relationships, I think if the church does it well, it's good. Like I think actually church is a great place, isn't it? Because you can start building friendships.
Yes.
And that's how I met my husband, you know, and we went to camps together. Great place to meet a husband.
Yeah.
You know, I got to see him in how he was serving the kids, which was really attractive. And then we went and served at Parachute together, and that was also really attractive. And like seeing him in group environments. And then I was like, I am not ready for a relationship after that breakup, but he's really attractive. Anyways, it's a good way to do it. But yes, brotherly affection, sisterly affection, it's a good way to start. And I think that's a really good point that we should highlight. If you are interested in dating, I would highly recommend reading the book, The Meaning of Marriage, because it talks about the point of marriage, the purpose of marriage, and what the expectations are and how it's like reflecting Christ. So
good.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Is it by Timothy Keller?
By Timothy Keller.
So good.
Yeah.
Would it be one that you would get for your child? Like for a teen or something?
I wouldn't get it for a child, no. I would probably get it for someone that's thinking about
dating. So like a 16-year-old?
Maybe older.
Really?
That's the thing.
So what is it?
No.
Is it more for adults to then
I feel
guide
like it's people that are
children?
thinking about engagement.
Oh,
or like,
okay. Would it be I'm sorry, we're just trying to nail this, but like,
no, it's good.
would it be good for like premarital counseling? You know,
Maybe.
like if you were going to get married, here's this book.
I feel like, but then it's like before that. So maybe 16, maybe 17.
Oh gosh.
Maybe not maturity. No. Maybe when you're just like leaving school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a good one to like prep you for leaving school and then maybe
entering into a
relationship.
Okay.
So you're like actually knowing what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah.
So good, Laura. And I think that's it for us today, but I do hope that this conversation has blessed you. A little bit of an informal chat one today, which was fun, but there is wisdom in waiting. There is wisdom in boundaries. We don't have to rush or awaken love like before it's time. But yeah, love is beautiful. Love is good. Love should be pursued just at the right time, in the right way, with the right person. But yeah, let's trust God's timing. Let's seek wise counsel and let's learn to treat one another with honor and purity. And that goes for everyone too.
That's right.
Do the bro vibes, guys. Let's bro vibes. But yeah, ultimately, whether we're single or dating or married, our identity and purpose is, like we talked about last week, only found in Christ. But I just wanted to give one last encouragement to you as you're listening to this. Whatever it is that you are currently going through, I know we're talking about like dating and relationships and like reminiscing about millennial church life. But whatever season you're in, I just want to remind you just to grow your relationship with the Lord outside of Sunday. You know, this is the name of the podcast. We want you to be, you know, praying, reading your word, worshiping the Lord outside of Sunday, outside of this podcast, outside of social media. You know, we want to encourage you, like, what is something that you can do today to build your relationship with Christ in a deeper and a more meaningful way? Is it a prayer walk? Is it spending some time in worship? You know, something where no one sees, no one needs to know about. It doesn't need to go on social media or anything like that. But just to encourage you, like, the Lord is always pursuing us. He always wants to spend time with us. He's always listening. Sometimes we just need to turn our attention back onto Him. So that's something I want to encourage you guys to do as you are listening today. But yeah, let's not like just be consumers of content, you know, even though content's great and I love it. Like, and that's why we're here, is to encourage you guys with this content. But let's not just be consumers. Like, let's actually get to know God ourselves and let His word speak to us.
I remember going through a phase of just wanting to read Christian books and not actually reading the Bible.
The Bible,
And I was like convicted of that. So I was like, okay, read the Bible. And then I was like, okay, now I need another book.
I do both. I read the Bible at a certain time of day, and then I'll read a novel or something like that.
So good.
So good.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks everyone for listening to this episode of the Outside of Sunday podcast. We'll catch you next time. Oh, for part 2, don't forget part 2. Make sure you come back for part 2 of our chat with Alicia as well on Tuesday. We'll see you then. Bye. Hey, thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Outside of Sunday podcast. If this podcast has encouraged you as you live your faith outside of Sunday, and if you're able, we'd love your support as we continue to grow this ministry. There's a couple of different ways you can partner with us. One is through the Outsider Club for $20 a month, where you will receive monthly club exclusives. Another way is by buying some sweet merch, which is available on the website. And then the final way is just with a regular or one-off tax-deductible donation. Your support helps us to reach the lost, equip the saints, and unite the believers. So head to outsidersunday.com for all of the details. And thank you so much for being a part of what God is doing through Outside of Sunday.
Is everything all right?
It just scared me, the noise that it made right then.
Is it okay?
But I think it's okay. I think it's just adjusting to a temperature change.
Okay.
And the metal is shrinking or expanding.
Cool. It's good to
It's
check.
giving me a heart attack.
It's just shrinking.